Hey, how you guys doing? This is Kim Reads Urantia, and today I've got Light the Flame by Andrew Harvey, and this is April 3rd. Oh Lord. Oh wait, this is a Sufi prayer by Andrew Harvey. Okay. Oh Lord, on this night, let no one fall asleep except in your arms, and let no one die except to your infinite light. So this is a prayer for all the people in the world. Keep all the people safe. Keep everybody safe. Help everyone. That's a sentiment that I share. That's so beautiful. Yeah. Okay. Okay, so we are on paper 196, part 2, The Religion of Jesus. Okay, here we go. Someday, that's usually one word. Here it's separated into two words. Okay, so that's an editing. I would accept that to be edited. Okay. Someday a reformation in the Christian church may strike deep enough to get back to the unadulterated religious teachings of Jesus, the author and finisher of our faith. You may preach a religion about Jesus, but perforce you must live the religion of Jesus. Yeah. Okay. In the enthusiasm of Pentecost, Peter unintentionally inaugurated a new religion, the religion of the risen and glorified Christ. The Apostle Paul later on transformed this new gospel into Christianity, a religion embodying his own theologic views. Thank you, Paul, for your own theologic views, right? And portraying his own personal experience with the Jesus of the Damascus Road. Okay, it doesn't talk a lot about that, what happened to St. Paul there. And, but here it kind of suggests that maybe this is the Jesus of the Damascus Road. Okay. The gospel of the kingdom is founded on the personal religious experience of the Jesus of Galilee. Christianity is founded almost exclusively on the personal religious experience of the Apostle Paul. Almost the whole of the New Testament is devoted not to the portrayal of the significant and inspiring religious life of Jesus, but to a discussion of Paul's religious experience and to a portrayal of his personal religious convictions. So we have here in Christianity today, the gospel according to St. Paul, right? That's kind of not what we, not that that's terrible. It's just not what was in the works, what was supposed to be. Right. The only notable exceptions to this statement, aside from certain parts of Matthew, Mark, and Luke, are the book of Hebrews and the Epistle of James. Even Peter, in his writing, only once reverted to the personal religious life of his master. The New Testament is a superb Christian document. but it is only meagerly Jesusonian, which of course we've coined in Urantia this new term, Jesusonian, meaning a follower of Jesus ahead of a, is a higher drive than being a member of the Church of Christianity, right? Jesus' life in the flesh portrays a transcendent religious growth from the early ideas of primitive awe and human reverence up through years of personal spiritual communion until he finally arrived at that advanced and exalted status of the consciousness of his oneness with the Father. And thus, in one short life, did Jesus traverse that experience of religious spiritual progression which man begins on earth and ordinarily achieves only at the conclusion of his long sojourn in the spirit training schools of the successive levels of the pre-paradise career. In one short life, Jesus did what it takes us a life, thousands of years to do, I'm sure, if not more. Jesus progressed from a merely human consciousness of the faith certainties, personal religious experience, to the sublime spiritual heights of the positive realization of his divine nature, and to the consciousness of his close association with the universal Father in the management of a universe. He progressed from the humble status of mortal dependence, which prompted him spontaneously to say to the one who called him good teacher, "Why do you call me good? None is good but God," to that sublime consciousness of achieved divinity, which led him to exclaim, "Which one of you convicts me of sin?" So there's a stretch of unifying here this very low claim, "Why do you call me good?" And then, "Who would dare convict me of sin? Which one of you convicts me of sin?" So at the one statement, he's placing himself very low, and the other one, he's very high, but he's bridging that gap again. And this progressing ascent from the human to the divine was an exclusively mortal achievement. So he did that without any help from Daddy up there. He did that as a human. And when he had thus attained divinity, he was still the same human Jesus, the Son of Man, as well as the Son of God. Mark, Matthew, and Luke retain something of the picture of the human Jesus as he engaged in the superb struggle to ascertain the divine will and to do that will. John presents a picture of the triumphant Jesus as he walked on earth in the full consciousness of divinity. The great mistake that has been made by those who have studied the Master's life is that some have conceived of him as entirely human, while others have thought of him as only divine. Throughout his entire experience, he was truly both human and divine, even as he yet is. Okay, so that is the real mind blower, is how can you be both of those things? And it seems like it's not possible, and we can't really conceive of it, and it's a great mystery, and we have to accept it, and we have to approach that and just remember both of those things. It's not like one and then the other. It's like both always at the same time. But the greatest mistake was made in that while the human Jesus was recognized as having a religion, the divine Jesus Christ almost overnight became a religion. Paul's Christianity made sure of the adoration of the divine Christ, but it almost wholly lost sight of the struggling and valiant human Jesus of Galilee, who, by the valor of his personal religious faith and the heroism of his indwelling adjuster, ascended from the lowly levels of humanity to become one with divinity, thus becoming the new and living way whereby all mortals may so ascend from humanity to divinity. Mortals in all stages of spirituality and on all worlds may find in the personal life of Jesus that which will strengthen and inspire them as they progress from the lowest spirit levels up to the highest divine values, from the beginning to the end of all personal religious experience. Yep. So if he can do it as a human, he shows us how to do it, and he believes he knows we can do it. Sometimes I worry I can't do it. I do my best, though. At the time of the writing of the New Testament, the authors not only most profoundly believed in the divinity of the risen Christ, but they also devotedly and sincerely believed in his immediate return to earth to consummate the heavenly kingdom. This strong faith in the Lord's immediate return had much to do with the tendency to omit from the record those references which portrayed the purely human experiences and attributes of the Master. Okay. The whole Christian movement tended away from the human picture of Jesus of Nazareth toward the exaltation of the risen Christ, the glorified and soon returning Lord of Jesus Christ. Lord Jesus Christ. I think that's so true. Jesus founded the religion of personal experience in doing the will of God and serving the human brotherhood. Paul founded a religion in which the glorified Jesus became the object of worship, and the brotherhood consisted of fellow believers in the divine Christ. All those other people, you have to pass the litmus test before you can be my fam. But that's not how it is. In the bestowal of Jesus, these two concepts were potential in his divine human life. And it is indeed a pity that his followers failed to create a unified religion which might have given proper recognition to both the human and the divine natures of the Master, as they were inseparably bound up in his earth life and so gloriously set forth in the original gospel of the kingdom. You would be neither shocked nor disturbed by some of Jesus' strong pronouncements if you would only remember that he was the world's most wholehearted and devoted religionist. He was a wholly consecrated mortal, unreservedly dedicated to doing his Father's will. Many of his apparently hard sayings were more of a personal confession of faith and a pledge of devotion than commands to his followers. He wasn't really that telling people, what to do and stuff. He wasn't really about that, I don't think. I mean, he did that though. Yep. And it was this very singleness of purpose and unselfish devotion that enabled him to effect such extraordinary progress in the conquest of the human mind in one short life. Many of his declarations should be considered as a confession of what he demanded of himself rather than what he required of all his followers. In his devotion to the cause of the kingdom, Jesus burned all bridges behind him. He sacrificed all hindrances to the doing of his Father's will. Jesus blessed the poor because they were usually sincere and pious. He condemned the rich because they were usually wanton and irreligious. He would equally condemn the irreligious pauper and commend the consecrated and worshipful man of wealth. Jesus led men to feel at home in the world. He delivered them from the slavery of taboo and taught them that the world was not fundamentally evil. Very good. Thank you. He did not long to escape from his earthly life. He mastered a technique of acceptably doing the Father's will while in the flesh. He attained an idealistic religious life in the very midst of a realistic world. Jesus did not share Paul's pessimistic view of humankind. The Master looked upon men as the sons of God and foresaw a magnificent and eternal future for those who chose survival. He was not a moral skeptic. He viewed man positively, not negatively. He saw most men as weak rather than wicked, more distraught than depraved. But no matter what their status, they were all God's children and his brethren. He taught men to place a high value upon themselves in time and in eternity. Because of this high estimate, which Jesus placed upon men, he was willing to spend himself in the unremitting service to humankind. And it was this infinite worth of the finite, that made the golden rule a vital factor in his religion. What mortal can fail to be uplifted by the extraordinary faith Jesus has in him? Jesus offered no rules for social advancement. His was a religious mission, and religion is an exclusively individual experience. The ultimate goal of society's most advanced achievement can never hope to transcend Jesus' brotherhood of men based on the recognition of the fatherhood of God. The ideal of all social attainment can be realized only in the coming of this divine kingdom. Very good. Okay. I'm cutting this a little short today because I got a lot to do. Okay. But this is very wonderful stuff here. And I'm not, St. Paul is my brother too. And, it's a shame that went like that. But, this is what we have. And it's good, but it can be better. We have to help to redirect this divine mission here to be a religion of Jesus rather than just about him. Okay, let's go. Have a good day. Bye.